We're following breaking news, a remarkable tweet from a Republican lawmaker in the House of Representatives, a key ally of President Trump, as his former fixer and personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, testifies before Congress. Let's dig deeper with our correspondents and our analyst, and Jeffrey Toobin. I'll read the tweet from Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida. He wrote this. Put it up on the screen. Hey, Michael Cohen, do your wife and father-in-law know about your girlfriends? Maybe tonight would be a good time for that chat. I wonder if she'll remain faithful when you're in prison. She's about to learn a lot. Does that look like a threat to you on the eve of his testimony before the House Oversight Committee?
Absolutely. It's total gangster stuff. The problem with pursuing that in some sort of law enforcement context is that the president has tweeted worse things about Michael Cohen. He's threatened Michael Cohen's father-in-law with prosecution. And whatever else you think of Gaetz, the congressman, he's not in charge of the Justice Department. The president is in charge of the Justice Department and has threatened Cohen's father-in-law with prosecution. So the sort of Columbo-Genovese approach to this whole relationship with Michael Cohen is consistent across with the president and his allies.
But I would assume even if you're a member of Congress, you're not immune from any kind of prosecution for threatening a witness who is testifying before Congress, either in open session or in closed session, right?
You're not, but I think it would be difficult for the Justice Department to pursue this and not pursue the president, and I just don't think that's going to happen.
Well, the Justice Department says they can't charge a sitting president, but they could charge a sitting member of the House of Representatives.
And at a minimum, the Ethics Committee could look into this because this is what they're supposed to do.
The House Ethics Committee.
The House Ethics Committee.
He emerged from his office just a few moments ago, Matt Gaetz, and he offered this explanation. Listen to this.
Congressman, does your tweet amount to witness tampering?
Absolutely not. It's witness testing. When people come before the Congress with an intent to perpetuate their continuous lies, we have an opportunity, and I would say an obligation, to test who those people lie to. We already know that Michael Cohen lies to Congress. We already know that he lies to law enforcement. Now we're going to find out if he also lies to the people closest to him, and I think that'll tell a lot about his ability to tell the truth.
Is this, Susan, witness tampering?
I think there's a pretty strong argument that it could be. Actually, I think that the strongest argument as a defense might be that the speech and debate clause, if you could say that this really was some integral to a legislative purpose, sort of a dumb thing to raise, actually an important constitutional question. But separately, look, this is potentially witness tampering. It's also really, really inappropriate. What we're seeing here is a congressman not even pretending to be discharging his constitutional function in conducting oversight, but is sort of being open about the fact that this is separation of parties, not separation of powers. He's out there to be one of the president's sort of thugs and toadies, intimidate witnesses on his behalf and sort of throw sand in the eyes of the American people. But, I think Jeffrey's point is right. It's really hard to criticize this stuff when it is what we are seeing. We're seeing far worse coming from the president himself. And it is an example that Donald Trump doesn't just degrade his own office. Kind of the fish rots from the head here, and we are seeing the degradation of the entire Republican Party in really important roles.
I love your use of the word inappropriate. It's so quaint.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I was just going to say, I agree with everything Susan said, but I actually think that what Gaetz said there in that clip you played, Wolf, is worse than his original tweet. If he wants to stand by the original tweet and say, this is hard-knuckle politics and we're going to dish it out to you, Michael Cohen, that's inappropriate. It's potentially witness tampering. The House could take action, but it is what it is. But for him to sit there and say that he's witness testing by threatening with some either accusations or gossip or some salacious charges to come out versus what he might testify to is truly lowering the bar for Congress.
And give me a break. Yeah. How does he know? How does he know what he tweeted? Where did he get his information from? He talks to the president all the time. He's friends with a lot of people who work for Donald Trump. I want to know the chain of custody of this tweet and how he gets his information and why he put it out there just now.
Lanny Davis, who's the spokesman and lawyer representing Michael Cohen, issued this statement, quote, "We will not respond to Mr. Gaetz's despicable lies and personal smears, except to say we trust that his colleagues in the House, both Republicans and Democrats, will repudiate his words and his conduct. I also trust that his constituents will not appreciate that their congressman has set a new low, which in today's political culture is hard to imagine as possible."
Well, yeah, it's true. But, what I struggle with is, are we doing Gaetz's work by repeating this slur and getting it out into the national bloodstream? I mean, I think at the end of the day, we have to do this because, we're in the news business.
Yeah.
He's a member of Congress. But
and a close ally of the president.
A close ally of the president. But, this is the problem. When you are so irresponsible and raise these charges, and it's like, should we report every tweet? I think we should, but I don't think it's morally uncomplicated.
But look, I think the important point is not what happens tonight, but what happens tomorrow. Michael Cohen is going to tell a story to the American people. By all indications, the president and his allies believe that story is going to be overwhelmingly damaging to the president. And so the real intention of this tweet is not necessarily to repeat some salacious rumor. It's to distract from that core message of what Michael Cohen has to say tomorrow.
And we know that, the context of this is, of course, Gaetz, along with Republican Congressman Jim Jordan, who is on oversight. The New York Times did a piece and said that they were coordinating with the president to fight back against Mueller. And so, this doesn't just happen in a vacuum. He has been a huge defender of the president's. He is very close to the president of the United States. I have a hard time believing that this tweet would have happened without some kind of blessing from somebody in the administration or encouragement from somebody in the administration. And I do believe, as Jeffrey is saying, that it's incumbent upon the Ethics Committee to investigate this, because this is not the way members of Congress behave before congressional testimony. I mean, this is unprecedented to me. And I think if I were a member of Congress, I would not want the reputation of my institution, which is already pretty low, to get any lower.
If in fact somebody did encourage him from the administration to go ahead and issue the statement on Twitter, Matt Gaetz, and if they conclude this is witness tampering, would that individual who encouraged him to do so be charged potentially with conspiracy to commit witness tampering?
To be honest, probably not. I think it would be too attenuated. And this is, in the context of heightened political battle. And there is certainly nothing inappropriate about the president's party working in concert to try to discredit a witness who is damaging to them. The problem here is that this is so outside the bounds of normal discourse, even for contested congressional hearings. I think the only person at any risk, and frankly, I don't think he's in all that much risk, is Gaetz himself.
Michael Cohen's been testifying since 9:30 this morning. It's been going on for hours, and he's still inside that room. Tomorrow morning, actually, he's coming out right now. There we see some live pictures. Let's see if he says anything. That's his attorney,
Cohen has
Lanny
had
Davis.
a long day. He wants to make a very brief statement, and then we're going to leave. But he has had a long day, and he wants to make a statement to you then.
First of all, I want to thank you all for sticking around and waiting for me. At this point in time, I really appreciate the opportunity that was given to me to clear the record and to tell the truth. And I look forward to tomorrow, to being able to, in my voice, to tell the American people my story, and I'm going to let the American people decide exactly who's telling the truth. So I want to thank you all again for sticking around, and have a good night.
All right, so there you see Michael Cohen and his lawyers leaving, including Lanny Davis there after spending, hours and hours today behind closed doors. I guess they're walking out a different direction, but he made his brief statement. And, Jeffrey, I interrupted you, but what do you think?
I think tomorrow is going to be a really defining moment in the Trump presidency because, we have not heard from many of the protagonists in this story directly. James Comey gave celebrated testimony in 2017. But all throughout this story, we have been hearing it from journalists and documents and court papers. Here we're going to hear from a principal. Now, people will decide whether he's credible or not. But I think in terms of, how often have we talked about Stormy Daniels and the money paid to Karen McDougal? Here's the person who actually arranged the payment, and he's going to talk about how it was done.